It started with a whisper, a name I couldn't place but couldn't ignore. I found a name that kept popping up in the quiet corners of the internet, not on the main pages but deep within obscure forums for urban planners and cryptography enthusiasts. It was buried in the footnotes of dusty PDFs, forgotten academic papers on network theory from the early 2000s. It was mentioned in passing during late-night threads debating the future of decentralized information. The name was 3iatlas. When I searched for it, I found nothing. No flashy website, no press kit, no corporate entity, just breadcrumbs, digital echoes left by a small, scattered group of people. So I followed them. I pieced together the fragments, chasing the trail through archived conversations and expired links. The rumor? The thing that tied all these disparate threads together? 3iatlas wasn't a company, or a product, or a place. It was a map. But not a map of roads or geography in the traditional sense. It was a living cartography of how ideas move through people, cities, and time. A model of our collective consciousness. The framework, as I came to understand it, is built on 3 layers. Picture 3 layers, each one feeding into the next. Layer 1 is called insight. This is the raw material of culture, the sparks we share. It's the text messages we send, the scientific papers we publish, the open source code we commit. Every tweet, every blog post, every shared photograph is a point of data on this layer. It's the what. Then there's layer 2, infrastructure. This is the how, the physical and digital conduits that carry those sparks. We're talking about the undersea fiber optic cables, the cellular towers, the massive server farms that hum with the world's information. But it also includes the physical world, the flight paths, the shipping lanes, the public transit systems, the very streets we walk on. It's the substrate of connection. And finally, layer 3, identity. This is the most complex, the most human layer. It's the why. It maps the communities, the cultures, the social networks that decide what catches fire and what fades away. It's the context. A meme is just data until a community gives it meaning. A scientific paper is just text until a research field validates it. This layer tracks shared languages, belief systems, and social affiliations. 3iatlas doesn't just look at these layers in isolation. It tracks the currents that flow between all 3. It watches how a piece of insight travels through a specific infrastructure and ignites within a particular identity. The project's origins are just as fascinating. It started as a side project, a tool built out of necessity during blackouts and border shutdowns. The initial group was small, a few researchers cut off from their colleagues, an artist trying to share work across a blocked-down city, a network engineer trying to keep information flowing. They asked a simple but profound question. If knowledge travels like weather, could we forecast it? Could we see the storm fronts of misinformation gathering? Could we predict the sunny spells of creative collaboration? Digging through the archives, I pulled old comets and early map renderings. The history is all there, if you know where to look. You can see how global events reshape our collective curiosity. During the early pandemic, you can watch search patterns for sourdough starter flare up in one region, then follow the infrastructure of social media to another, all while the identity layer of homebound creatives lights up. You can watch a classroom hackathon in a university. The initial insight is a small piece of code. It travels through the university's local network, the infrastructure, and is adopted by the Student Computer Science Club, the identity. Within months, you see that same code branching out, appearing in 3 different startups in the city's tech incubator, creating a tangible economic ripple. Or my favorite example, you can watch a single poem, written in a minority language, get translated and shared among diaspora communities online. It crosses languages, its core message resonating with different identity groups. A year later, phrases from that poem appear in the speeches of local activists, and eventually, its core sentiment is cited in a municipal policy proposal on cultural heritage. From a poem to policy, all visible on the map. So how does it work? The methods are a blend of brute force data collection and elegant graph theory. The system ingests massive amounts of public data, everything from open source code repositories and preprint servers to public social media feeds and shipping manifests. This raw data is then cleaned, deduplicated, and processed. Natural language processing identifies topics and sentiment. Network analysis connects authors, locations, and concepts. It's a monumental task of finding the signal in the noise. The map is rebuilt in rolling time windows, usually every 72 hours, to show not just a snapshot, but the flow and velocity of ideas. Reading the map is an art in itself. you learn to spot the visual signatures. A sudden dense cluster of nodes can signify a breaking news event. Long, thin lines connecting distant communities might represent a niche hobby or a scientific collaboration. You can see anomalies, ideas that jump between disconnected identity groups, often indicating a powerful, universally resonant concept. But is it perfect? No. Of course not. The data is messy, it's incomplete, biased towards the digitally connected and full of noise, and people are messier. We are unpredictable, irrational, and beautiful in our complexity. The map can't capture a private conversation, a moment of quiet inspiration, or a change of heart. The creators were acutely aware of the ethics. From the earliest commits, you can see safeguards built in. All data is aggregated. There are no individual profiles. It doesn't track people. It tracks the movement of the ideas themselves. It's designed to observe the forest, not to single out the trees. It explicitly avoids predictive policing or commercial surveillance. Its scope is descriptive, not prescriptive, and that brings us to the future. The roadmap isn't locked in a boardroom, it's being built in public. The next phase is about opening up more data sets and inviting more people to contribute, not just with code, but with context. And that's the real reveal. 3iatlas isn't a secret you discover. It's a lens you pick up, a tool you can use. Anyone mapping the circulation of books in a neighborhood library, anyone tracing the path of an undersea cable, or tracking a meme's migration across the globe, is already, in spirit, part of it. They are building their own small corner of the atlas. If this journey into the architecture of ideas made you curious, tap the like button and subscribe to Timelines for more deep dives into the systems that shape our world. I'll keep pulling on these threads. The map is changing even as we watch, and maybe, by understanding how it works, we can change it for the better.